Healers. It sounds like such a big word with big connotations. Almost untouchable. Join me on these series of interviews where I sat down with not only my Shiatsu teachers, but also people I met along the way who've helped me broaden my understanding of different aspects of healing. Through these interviews, I wanted to show how people who inspired me are everyday people with extraordinary gifts. Some I think are born with a gift, but they all have to work at honing their craft. However they have this power to help people to heal, one thing is for sure, their stories are amazing. Adam Hellinger is a Shiatsu practitioner, teacher and Qigong instructor. We speak about how these have influenced his life and his unique teaching technique. So hi Adam.
Hello Lynn, how are you?
I'm great. I'm happy to see you today.
Thank you, it's nice to see you. It's been a while. I think the last time we met, was it at the residential when you were finishing your course?
Yeah, that was the last time we met in person, and that was my son was 3 months old then and he's 5 now.
No.
Yeah.
Where does the time go?
I don't know. Adam, so can you tell me a bit about your background, please?
Yeah, certainly. Since the late 1980s, I was always been interested in movement and coordination, body coordination. I used to have a landscape garden maintenance business, and I'm quite a tall person, and it was like I had problems with my back, and I was trying to find ways to move more efficiently, and I found this approach called the Alexander technique, which was more about developing awareness of how you moved rather than a particular fix. And I think that's always stayed with me. I'm interested in the principles behind it rather than just press A and that will fix you, then you carry on, because it's not really looking at where it's coming from. I became friends with the teacher, and she recommended that I would be interested in Tai Chi. And then, like with most of these things, it's not so much the practice, it's the teacher that really influences whether you get on with it or not. That and the style, because if I'd have gone to a certain style of Tai Chi, I might not have liked it, I might not have carried on. But after a year and a half of looking around, trying different classes, I found the right person for me. And I think everyone has their own right person. And then he introduced me to his teacher, which taught a style of Qigong, which is a variant of Tai Chi. It's sort of like it creates the foundations, the core of Tai Chi practice. And I just knew it was right for me. And it's quite interesting seeing different people's interviews on the internet and different social media. I think everyone says, I was just sent to this place, or I just felt this was the right thing. And that's how it worked for me. Mm-hmm. Someone actually said to me, go to this address, you'll see something there, and that will be of interest to you. And that was Introductory Day Shiatsu. Uh-huh. So the two, it's always a link together. I was looking for a Tai Chi Qigong teacher. It happened to, and a friend recommended a place to visit. And it was a complementary health and food centre in East London called the East West Centre, really quite a famous centre, like a core of beginning to bring Eastern traditions over into London in the West. And the school I studied at was based there at the time. And I went for an introductory day, and I stayed with that school, the British School of Shiatsu Do. I did the course there. Then they invited me to become an assistant. In those days, it was much more formal. It was an honor to be invited to be an assistant, and not everyone got to be invited to be an assistant. It was quite hierarchical in those days. And then after being an assistant and doing the course again, they offered me a place to become in the teacher training program. So that by then I'd been studying for like 5 or 6 years. Then the teacher training program was 1.5 years of doing assisting again and starting to take classes. And then and then I started to teach from that, and it's all just gone on from it. And at the same time, I was given permission to teach the style of Qigong I study from my teacher. And that wasn't a certificated program. Like everyone needs a piece of paper now to say,
yeah,
this, my teacher just says, okay, it's okay for you to do it now. And before that, no, you don't know enough, or you're not good enough. You just accept and respect their opinion, and it's a really different way of doing it.
And so you've been teaching Qigong since then? You never
The both of them. I've been teaching Qigong and Shiatsu since 95, 97, 99, around about that time is when I started. And it's quite interesting. I've just carried on. I'm very fortunate that I've remained a teacher with the school I trained at. And then I've done a bit of work for other schools. And I also worked for the school that you trained at, the Shiatsu College of Dublin, Ireland. That was really nice to meet a whole different syllabus, way of teaching, group of people. And I'm really grateful to Helena for inviting me to come and teach and giving me the chance to develop in that direction. So it's really nice. And there are also the British school has quite a very specific way of teaching, and so there are satellite schools. So I've teach in Slovenia and Sweden a bit, because there are schools out there affiliated with the same style.
Okay. And Adam, you were saying like that you used to have a horticulture business. So like it seems quite different than Shiatsu. Like it seems like quite a big jump for you then just to go. And did it feel like that at the time, or did it feel like quite a natural progression for you?
Well, it did at the time, but as time goes on, you realize the links of how important it is. So every day since I was like in my teens, I've been outdoors. So when you're outdoors, you're more in tune with the seasons and energy. And I didn't realize that at the time. When you don't realize it, you put the coat on, you battle against the rain and the wind. And these days, I'm thinking that's quite nice. And one of my greatest influences and my greatest teachers, who wasn't a Shiatsu practitioner, she was more of a shaman, like one of the other people you interviewed. And she said to me, she said, think of yourself. See, at the moment, you see yourself as a gardener that's studying Shiatsu. And so watch how that changes. And one day you'll be a Shiatsu practitioner that does a bit of gardening. And one day you'll be a Shiatsu teacher, possibly, that has done gardening in the past and does a little bit now. You're still you, Adam. It's just how you distribute your time and your focus which changes. And that's a really nice description of our lives, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I actually, Adam, I always remember you saying when you were teaching me, like I'm paraphrasing, but you said, you know, you can spend your time to develop your awareness, or, you know, you can just sit in the couch and watch telly. But at the time I was like, oh God, I don't have a lot of time to develop my awareness. But it's funny how like you just have to, when you're doing Shiatsu, you kind of have to develop your awareness, really, don't you?
Well, I think it asks you, but I think if you're interested in Shiatsu, you have a natural curiosity. And it's a curiosity not only for yourself, but for wanting to help and support other people. So you want to be the best you can be. And it just becomes apparent when you start to study and practice that the learning isn't just watching a video or reading a book. It's actually being engaged in it and actually practicing it. And I think that holds true for most Eastern arts. It's an art because you have to repeat it and practice it. And that brings out aspects of you that you wouldn't have found if you didn't do it a lot. And quite often people say to me, oh, how did you do that? How did you know that? And I say, I'm no different to you. I've just done it more times.
Okay.
And it's an important thing to remember that we all have this skill. It's what skill we want to nurture, what skill we want to bring out in ourselves.
Uh-huh. And you were saying about you've taught in London and Dublin and Sweden as well.
Yeah.
So like, does the teaching aspect come quite naturally to you? Is that a part that you enjoy? Like, I always thought when you were teaching, you had a really good way of, it feels like, I know what you mean when people ask it, but how did you know that? It feels like you just have all these great ideas and theories, and you had a great way of making them sound really simple. So do you really enjoy the teaching aspect of it?
Yes, that's the element that's come forward as the thing that each. So while I have a practicist is teaching and sharing with others, and as a result of that, it does come quite naturally to me, and then I do it more, and you start to explore more, and as you get more experience, you call on other experiences and other teachers and other places you've been, and my objective is I'm really glad to hear what you said, because my objective is to make it as simple as possible. And another thing that I'm really interested in is just presenting what I'm asked to present, and not having to just show, because I can't show everything. It's about how you refine it down so that you're presenting what you're asked to present that weekend, but there are aspects of it to leave a little seed with someone that thinks, I wonder if I look at that a bit more, whether that will take me into a further direction or a bit more growth in that direction. And that's what I really enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm. And Adam, you've worked extensively with the Shiatsu Society as well. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, a very good friend of mine was the chair of the Shiatsu Society, and it was going through, this is the English society, not the Irish one.
Mm-hmm.
It was going through enormous transformation, and she invited me to join her on the board to see what we could do. And it was the hardest, most challenging thing I've ever done in my life.
Was it?
It was very, very interesting, because my life up to then was like, well, just spending time with nature and gardening and developing my teaching, developing my Qigong practice. And it was all around myself. And when you start to take into more and more people's views and work in a direction with the public, it requires a different focus and awareness. So I really learned a lot about I think it actually developed my teaching style, actually, because interaction with the different people was came up a lot in it. I was really fortunate. I organized the last Shiatsu Congress that the society's held to date. Mm-hmm. It might come again, but and that was a really interesting experience. So that was we held in Scotland, and organizing the teachers and the timetable and all of that kind of thing. It was really, really enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoyable. And the society's blossoming and growing, and a lot of that was from stuff we did. Most probably not, it's not actually common knowledge. It's just in the background, little bits and pieces that no one will know, but we know, and it's just quite nice to have supported the Shiatsu community as well as not just thinking about myself all the time.
Yeah. And why do you think it's so important to have a society, a community, I suppose, for Shiatsu?
Because if you want something like Shiatsu, which is relatively not so well known as other therapies, to become more prevalent, there has to be an interface that the public can contact. And it might be that, yes, we work from referrals, or we might work from a center, but if you think about it, if you asked most people in a group that you knew, what would you do if you had a bad back? What would be their response? Where would they go? How would they treat it? So the idea of developing public awareness that Shiatsu may be able to support that comes better from a professional organization. It regulates the quality, the level of experience, the awareness of the people that work there, community spirit, sharing ideas. I'm not very good at marketing, but someone is. So if they share their idea, I can use their resource. So it's a really beneficial system, providing it's fair and open and works. So I think I'm really pleased that the society in England is heading in the direction it is. It's good.
Okay. And then tell me a bit about your Qigong work now, Adam, then. So you were saying you didn't really have like a piece of paper to go forward. So how do you keep developing and keep learning, or do you feel like you have to keep learning, or do you just know it all now?
Well, the lovely thing about it is that to know that I'll never know it all, I really like it. I don't want to ever finish the course or stop. If you remember when you graduated, do you have a sense of, well, actually, I don't want to stop now, I want to carry on?
Yeah, huge sense of that. I always feel like I'll be learning. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I feel exactly the same. And over time, as I practice more and develop more and more information comes to me. So I'm definitely learning and developing all the time. Yes, I could say on paper, yes, I've got this piece of paper that says I've got this statue that says I'm a qualified teacher in I've been to this workshop. I've traveled all around the world studying it, this, that, and the other, But really, it's just like, what do I feel like when I stand like that? And it's really, really, what I've done is develop ideas of how developing your Qigong can develop your awareness, which then leads into your presence and how you give Shiatsu and how you integrate with other people as a whole. It's not just, it's a lifelong thing. It doesn't just finish when the class finishes. I try to integrate it into my lifestyle. So the principles of it.
Okay. And you've spoken.
Does that make sense to you? Have I been rambling on a little bit about it?
No, that makes total sense. It does. That makes sense. Do you know what? Like when I was thinking about how that I wanted to interview you, I just kind of wanted to know, like, how you made it seem so easy, or how you made it seem so simple. But I suppose it's because you've been practicing for so long, and just you've kind of explained that a little bit. It's because you've been practicing for so long, and because it's integrated into your life, I suppose. So if it's integrated into your life, then you present it quite simply.
Yeah, and also I've got quite an inquiring mind, and I'm interested to see what's the most simple, what can I break it down to make it, I don't want to make it still whole. I don't want to take anything out of it, but I want it to be whole, but cover everything. The principle covers everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying I'm anything like Einstein, but if you think about the most powerful and efficient equations in mathematics and science are really short. They're really small, and they hold the potential of the explanation within it. It's just your ability to take that potential and work with it on your terms in your practice.
Okay.
So you could say everything comes down to yin and yang. And someone could think, oh, I know about yin and yang. It's light and dark, hot and cold. I've got that. What's next? But you could spend the rest of your life exploring what that means in relation to how you give treatments.
Uh-huh.
So I've just spent a lot of time going over and refining and exploring aspects that interest me in what I've studied.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives me a bit more clarity, and I can share that.
And is there anything that's tweaking your interest at the moment, like where you want to go next, to refine next, or to study next?
I'm really excited about Qigong at the moment, and so it's really interesting. I've been doing the same style, the same practice for a long time now, but it's just revealing more and more to me. And it's coming up now is it's revealing how I can develop my presence and my awareness through my practice. So it's not just an exercise to stretch my muscles and tendons. When I stretch my muscles and tendons, I'm developing a relationship to myself, which makes me more aware of where I am and what I'm doing. And I think that is key to my practice, because once I'm aware of what I'm doing, where I am, I have a sense of what happens when I meet somebody else, that interaction of space in a treatment.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm developing or working on a lot at the moment.
Okay, brilliant. And you've had loads of time as well during lockdown, I suppose.
Yeah.
Explore all these things.
Exactly. That lockdown has been really quite interesting, because yes, I've been practicing Qigong for a long time, and yes, I train, but to not be able to do lots of things that take up your time, I thought to myself, oh, what can I do with my time? And the thought came to me, well, why don't you try to see what happens if you do what you do more and focus on it? And so there was one particular posture, because the style of Qigong I study focuses on postures and your relationship to the posture. And so I thought, I'm going to see if I can learn this. And I'd avoided studying it because it's quite difficult, and my hips are tight, and I'm getting older, and this, that, and the other. And I just thought, right, I'm going to see what happens. And a year and a bit later, I've got the fundamentals of it now. And by getting the fundamentals of that, it's changed everything else.
Okay, everything else with your Qigong.
All the other aspects of the posture and my relationship to it.
Okay.
And it was so interesting. I was deliberately keeping myself away from that. So I'm really happy.
Good.
So there are difficulties in the lockdown with work, and I haven't been able to travel, and I really missed teaching in person. But there's always, if you look for it, there are positive things to every situation, I think. And mine's been also, I've changed my diet a little bit. I've lost weight. I've learned how to clean my windows in my house.
Oh, wow. That's the most useful thing you've said so far.
It's all sorts of things, isn't it?
Yeah. Adam, I put up on social media that I was interviewing you, and so I have some questions. So Dawn asked you, what is Qigong to you?
Okay, so Qigong is a part of me, actually. It's an aspect of me which helps me refine and develop my potential and my relationship to myself.
Okay. And Don also asked, could Qigong save the planet if more people practiced
it? Well, I think one of the interesting things about human beings is that we're all so unique and different. And the people that come to you for a treatment might not come to me for a treatment. The people that drive a certain kind of car wouldn't have another kind. We're all unique. So while I found Qigong very beneficial and supportive for me, other people might not see that or feel that or connect to that. So it's about I think being open to change, open to, I'm going to try this, and then if it feels right, just developing it in a way that you want to. So it's not like, if you don't do this for an hour every day for the next 10 years, you'll never get it. That's completely not how it works. It's about finding something and engaging with it on your terms and seeing how that works with you.
Okay. And then Sneziana asked, when we develop key awareness, what are the key qualities we need to develop and to explore and to improve our shiatsu?
I think that's about what we've been talking about, really. Because Qi is an aspect of your awareness and integration and structure and relationship. And as you develop, I personally think that to be your best as a practitioner, you have to have a practice that refines who you are. You look at yourself from that practice, and most practices in that area develop your relationship and circulation to your Qi. So I think as you develop that, so my treatments are changing all the time as my relationship to my Qi changes. Does that make sense to you? Do you have a question about what I've said in that respect?
No, that makes sense. And like you said, I think we've talked about it today, that makes sense.
Yeah. So for a really good example is that, so I'm very grateful that you've attended some of my online classes. And one of the things that really resonated in me was you said that since I've been coming to your class, a couple of people have said to me that I seem a bit different. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is, there's no way you could ever measure that change.
Mm-hmm.
But part of that change is attributed to you coming along and moving in a certain way and thinking in a certain way. And that's your Qi. It's not completely that, because how could you possibly say one thing changes? It's you're adding it to the mix, which is your life. And that, to me, when you said that, was the greatest compliment I could ever receive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. It really has. And I really enjoy doing Qigong now. And when I did it in college, it's not that I didn't enjoy it, but I didn't rate it as much as I do now. I was a bit like, oh, yeah, we do the Qigong and then we get onto the Shiatsu. I didn't appreciate it enough. I didn't see the link between the two, really, but I really do now. And I enjoy it more. So yeah, I can definitely see it more in myself. Yeah. Well, Adam, that was brilliant. Thanks so much for talking to me today.
Okay, well, it's really nice for you to invite me to speak with you, and I wish you well.
I wish you well, Adam.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.